What is it like for me to wear the mask? It's like a sense of bringing out that inner God in you. Just being that loving person and being the do what's right type of guy. It's great power and great responsibility once you realize who you are and what you have to fight through and what the world brings. So that's all what Spider-Man is fighting through your pain, fighting through the emotion and overcoming and becoming that hero, 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 becoming that hero.
Before we start, I'd like to give a big shout out to Nadji for giving life to one of my most favorite characters of all time.
No, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
On the mocap stage, I'm giving my all, or whether it's in the booth, I'm actually swinging, I'm actually punching.
What a performance. Also, major spoilers for the Spider-Man Miles Morales game ahead. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is a game that masterfully tells the story of how a boy grows up to become the man he's supposed to be. This game is a meticulously crafted love letter to all young people out there, especially to young Spider-Man fans worldwide, showing the responsibilities of being Spider-Man and, more importantly, highlighting the inherent ugliness and the beauty of maturing and creating your own path. From its gorgeous opening scene to its beautifully crafted ending, the game flawlessly captures the parallels of following your mentor's path to eventually becoming equals and growing to become your own man. All of which is masterfully encapsulated in a game that's almost linear in a sense. This game amazingly hits the mark, showing us how Miles Morales becomes his own man, his own Spider-Man, all pun intended. With a vivid and colorful opener to introduce our main protagonist for this game, and while showing the beautiful city of Harlem, we are already introduced to the fact that this is Miles' own game. We are shown the city and all its establishments, the people, the community, and everyone around, and how Miles fits perfectly within it. And honestly, something about seeing a 360 full view of the entire city of Harlem, the way the game designers created it, just captivated me in such a way that still resonates with me to this day. Just witnessing Miles walk through Harlem with such confidence, swagger, and easiness, I become reminded of my own memories and the nostalgic feeling I get from seeing the establishments, streets, alleys, schools, eateries, and spots within the areas I've lived in when I was younger, giving me that sentiment that there's really no place like home, which never fails to incite deep emotions within me. I mean, can't deny that when you were younger, you yourselves have made mementos and significant moments in particular spots in your hometown or in the place you grew up in. And you also can't deny that from time to time, as you've grown older, you get these fleeting reminders and nostalgia of those places and those moments. And I feel that that's what this world of Miles Morales and its establishments were trying to do, which for me was a 10 out of 10 success.
Swinging through the kingdom in the night. I only see you in the city light. I'm fresher than fresh. I step out the steps and we're all running for the flex. Pete told me I was next. I'm coming for.
But let's turn away from the concept of nostalgia for a bit and get to the moments where I believe this game is really trying to tell the story of Miles Morales' journey towards becoming his own man. And this, of course, starts immediately as soon as Miles talks to the people of Harlem. While walking on his way to get groceries, because his mom told him to, Miles sees the mural of Spider-Man, rather Peter Parker's Spider-Man, being painted. And right there, Miles shows us some traits that many growing kids and teens like I did way back then have displayed. Asking them,
Hey, you think you're gonna add that new Spider-Man too?
Giving us a sense that Miles Morales is in the phase of looking for validation, affirmation, and confirmation that he too means something, that he himself, as the new Spider-Man, or the other Spider-Man, is also valid as his own hero.
Whenever you say Spider-Man, you always mean the other one.
A recurring trait from Miles that we will subtly get from time to time within the full length of this beautiful game. If you can tell by now, I just really love this game, especially the way it portrays the coming of age stories in such a way that isn't forced, isn't corny, but still incorporates all those obvious cliches. In all honesty, there's just so much beauty and attention to detail within this game that I honestly appreciate. Of course, just like any growing boy, we all have that summer love, that crush, that cute infatuation, that one girl we all fell head over heels over when we were all teens growing up. Obviously, Miles is no exception to this. Like what I've said, this game brings everything together to tell the story of how Miles becomes his own man. And summer crushes are a part of this, of course. I see you, Miles. You really think you're sly like that, huh? We see you, little bro. We know you got game, and we acknowledge it.
Oh. Sorry.
But anyways, obviously, this aspect of Miles having this sort of budding teen romance thing with a girl isn't unique in any way, nor is it a major aspect within the game when you think about it. But again, it's these details of storytelling that emphasize the general theme of this game. And it's something that I truly appreciate as a gamer, as this game just almost never takes a break from sticking to its underlying themes and storylines. We've all had those moments of growing up, just walking somewhere, hanging out with your friends, and suddenly seeing that cute girl, and suddenly we act different, we act cool and all that. It's all part of growing up, and this game just subtly but beautifully delivers that feeling. There's just so many things that makes this process of Miles Morales' growth towards quote-unquote manhood and becoming his own man be emphasized in such a well-defined manner. But in my opinion, the best thing that this game ever did,
besides doing the Arkham Origins but better, stay tuned for that video by the way,
is how the game developers and writers have masterfully crafted how Miles Morales acts when under pressure. And of course, it all starts in the beginning of it all. As the game officially starts with Miles' biggest test yet, we see our new Spider-Man encounter one of his biggest challenges in his career as a superhero. And well, while he did pass the Spider-Man test in a way, it wasn't without its own set of failures and blunders, showing how clumsy and inexperienced Miles acts and reacts when under pressure, especially at that early stage in his crime fighting. And yeah, sure, we've kind of expected Miles to make some mistakes. After all, it's only been a year since he just got his powers and actually became quote-unquote Spider-Man. But the way it happens within the game is just so casually well written. A simple, impulsive decision that Miles made during an obvious time of duress for such a tense moment. And honestly, the way this game starts with that image is an awesome way to show his inexperience and how he deals with the pressure.
Pete, don't worry. No! It's secure.
See, in the opening cutscene before combat is introduced in this game, we are shown this scene with Peter and Miles on a mission to convoy raft escapees and assist the authorities in doing so. And while the duo was swinging along and guarding a VIP prisoner container cell which was being airlifted by a helicopter, one of the cables holding the prisoner's containment cell snapped and broke. Of course, Miles, being this young and eager to do heroic stuff and show off in front of Peter, immediately acted on impulse, quickly swinging onto the container and webbing the cable, completely not thinking about the fact that him swinging onto the container would shift the weight of the huge metal box containing our VIP prisoner and, in turn, lead to the disaster that would follow. Miles' mistake would have a ripple effect, causing the containment cell to swing dangerously, leading to the helicopter slowly barreling down, almost crashing onto innocent civilians, but instead smashing onto a truck. A truck which coincidentally contains more raft escapees, leading to more escapees and the eventual release from the cell of our VIP, Rhino. This then of course leads to more chaos and trouble, as we not only see the prison escapees incite terror onto the streets, but this would also lead to Rhino rampaging across the city like an unstoppable juggernaut and even do extensive damage to the streets, buildings, and even through the mall. Not to mention the damage to the innocent lives and livelihood that the wake of this rampant disruption caused, all of which started due to Miles' inexperience, eagerness, and impulsive actions. But you really can't fully fault Miles on this. In all honesty, I think I can speak for many of us when I say that we all have those moments, especially as inexperienced teens roaming around in this world, learning things, doing things, and trying to establish ourselves and prove ourselves as competent, capable, and reliable people amidst the pressures of life. I think it's safe to say we've all experienced going through moments wherein we are faced with a huge challenge and we act under pressure. And then we act impulsively, thinking we're the shit, we're all this, all that. We act as if we already know what we needed to know, and because of that, we fuck up. We've all done that. Hell, I've done that. In fact, I remember when I was a young boy, I can recall this specific moment wherein I was under a lot of pressure, but thinking that I was the shit because I thought I was unique, and smart, and cool, and mysterious, and all that. I acted on impulse, and not only did it backfire badly on me, it also affected many people in my life negatively. This impulsive, immature decision changed my life for the worse and had long-term effects for those around me. I don't want to go into specifics, but all I can say is that I made a decision on impulse. I really fucked up badly. I lied, tried to cover it up, cover my mistakes up because of my childish and foolish pride, and I thought I could handle it. Sadly, me trying to handle it only made things worse for me and for the people around me. What I'm getting at is that at some point in all of our lives, we've all more or less let the pressures get to us. I mean, even as adults now, I think some of us still make those types of mistakes. I know I still do sometimes. And of course, this applies more to the younger people who are still inexperienced and still learning the ropes, just like Miles. However, the thing that truly convinced me that this Miles Morales game exemplifies the journey of Miles becoming his own man is how the writers masterfully created one of the most telling foundations for the aforementioned theme, and that is the concept of mentorship.
What's this?
Christmas present. But first, you gotta take the oath.
Oh. Okay.
I promise to do everything in my power to protect this city.
I promise.
That's it.
Early on, we are shown the mentorship dynamics surrounding Miles' growth and progress as someone who just recently received his powers, to becoming a quote-unquote superhero, and to eventually becoming his own man. All of which is initially highlighted by his close relationship with Peter Parker. And I just have to admit, while this idea seems like an obvious and easy cop-out to talk about, to me, it's still a really beautiful yet complex relationship to analyze. I mean, when you think about it, one of the hardest things in life as a young person is to break out of your own shell and to become your own man, which is especially hard in the case of Miles Morales. I mean, think about it. This is Peter Parker's Spider-Man we're talking about. At this point in his career, he's basically done everything as Spider-Man. He saved everyone in New York, he has his own rogues gallery, and he's basically New York's most famous superhero for years. He's one of the most popular, one of the most beloved, and one of the most iconic heroes of all time. Everyone knows him and everyone loves him. For all we know, he might even be a member of the Avengers in this universe. Also, there's one thing that Peter Parker has done that no other superhero in this entire world has ever accomplished.
Pigeon Fact 3. Here we go.
Not gonna lie, kinda enjoying these.
Peter Parker did not like pigeons until he met Howard.
Got him!
Yep, I'm talking about Peter Parker Pigeon Facts. What I'm trying to get at is that, for Miles, breaking out of his own shell and stepping out of someone's shadow, let alone Peter Parker's Spider-Man shadow, one that's so big and so wide in every sense imaginable, is in itself an already monumental task. And this task is something that Miles and we as players would all be undergoing and experiencing. And the best part is, Peter himself is there at every step of the way to guide us.
Miles, get ready for your first holographic training challenge.
From Peter's early role as Miles' support system during the latter's grieving stage when his dad tragically passed, to becoming his confidant when Miles discovers his powers, to slowly but surely crawling under Peter's wings, to them having this beautiful big brother little brother relationship, to eventually becoming entrusted with this monumentally epic task of becoming the sole Spider-Man of New York. Oh my god, that's a mouthful. And it's such a really heartwarming process to look at. More so, when you think about the fact that what Peter's doing to Miles is what basically no one has done for Peter, which is teaching Miles how to be Spider-Man. And while it's definitely Miles' game, I just have to give kudos to Peter. From his brief but entertaining phone calls to Miles every once in a while,
Why are there 7 different words for bathroom?
to his meticulously constructed challenges, to opening to Miles about his own experiences and issues of being Peter and of being Spider-Man. This mentoring role from Peter to Miles is one that I think is a bit overlooked in the game, but is one of the most crucial driving forces that make this game as solid as I think it really is. And while we're at it, I did mention the hologram spider training challenge that Peter actually created for Miles. Those challenges, while they do make sense in-game, they are also some of the most interesting avenues for Peter to talk to Miles about being Spider-Man. It's not just about his tutorials on stealth, combat, and traversal that help Miles and us players improve. There's some beautiful underlying sentiments within these challenges that I genuinely appreciate. It's just a slow but steady way for Peter to teach and guide Miles. It's a gradual type of training, and the best part is, Peter's not just training Miles for the sake of it. We can actually feel that there's sincere purpose for the training, and he even monitors Miles' progress, proving just how purposeful and genuine his mentorship of Miles really is. In-game, what I also appreciate about Peter's spider training is the fact that it's not too overbearing and annoying to do. And the best part is, after finishing all of Peter's 9 hologram trainings, all of this culminates in my dumb opinion, one of the most heartwarming and just purely feel-good moments in all of Marvel's Spider-Man series of games yet, with Peter showing Miles the first time Peter ever fought a major non-powered supervillain in the form of the Vulture and his twin, quote-unquote. And another great thing about this is that Peter didn't just show Miles how it happened. He actually put Miles there, literally and figuratively, in his shoes. If that isn't one of the best way a mentor teaches an apprentice, then I don't know what is. In this pseudo-boss fight, which was masterfully voiced by none other than Yuri Lowenthal himself,
Peter Parker, brilliant but lazy.
Shut the fuck up and look at what's happening!
kudos to my boy by the way, we see Miles undergoing this gorgeously constructed training by fighting a holographic version of Vulture. All the while, Peter tells the story of the time he went against his old winged foe.
On the very first day of class, Vulture's old research partner, Greg Nesmith, taught it against you.
As Peter narrates the story, we are gifted with both a compelling mini-boss fight and the story that concludes with Peter teaching Miles several key lessons. The first lesson was that, for Peter, he realized the importance of pacing himself not just during battles but also in life, basically saying one mission at a time. Another lesson from this training that Peter teaches Miles is to never forget who he truly is, where he has come from, and who the people were that were supporting him throughout his time as a superhero. In my case, from this simple training, what I also took was that Peter established something that we as adults sometimes forget. That there's nothing inherently wrong carrying your childhood sentiments. What matters is how you use those memories and sentiments to keep you going.
That fight taught me I'd always be a kid from Queens at heart, but I could carry that strength anywhere.
A perfect lesson to teach a young and growing kid who is just trying to grow into his own person.
People get stupid when they care about someone. Like you're being stupid now.
If I told her the truth...
I told your dad the truth. Thought he'd have my back. Hoped he would. And my brother. Instead, he cut me out. If I kept my mouth shut, maybe I'd still have a family. You know what you have to do.
But of course, it's not just Peter who has provided guidance and mentorship for Miles within the context of this game. We also have another character who serves as a different kind of mentor and guardian for Miles, namely Uncle Aaron Davis, aka the subway worker, aka the Prowler. In a way, Uncle Aaron's role within Miles' life as a mentor opposes what Peter represents. See, unlike Peter, Uncle Aaron and Miles are literally blood related, as opposed to Peter, who became Miles' older brother in a more figurative sense. Another comparison between the two is that while Peter became a part of Miles' life for reasons related to the death of Jefferson Davis, whom Peter briefly worked with, Uncle Aaron was forced out of his nephew's life so that Jefferson, Rio, and Miles can go about their lives safely and properly. Interestingly enough, Uncle Aaron found a way to re-enter Miles' life after Peter briefly left Miles to go to Symkaria. Another interesting coincidence is that Peter left Miles to help MJ do her own type of heroic work, while Uncle Aaron entered Miles' life to ask for his nephew's help, as well as having some sinister agenda, since even from the start, we are introduced to this idea that Aaron actually knows that Miles is Spider-Man and that Uncle Aaron is still conniving with Roxanne behind Miles' back. But the polarities between Peter's and Uncle Aaron's role as Miles' mentor don't stop there. See, there are also some differences between how each of them approach their mentoring methods for Miles. On one hand, it's easy to understand Uncle Aaron's protective nature towards guiding his nephew. However, his methods for mentoring Miles seems to mirror his own means of conducting his business as the Prowler, being that the way he commits his crimes using deception, being a con artist, and having sinister and implicit methods to achieve his goals is the same way that he approaches trying to guide and mentor and teach and protect Miles. And the thing is, knowing what we knew back then about what happened to Officer Jefferson, knowing what we know now about what happened between Aaron and Jeff, as well as Jeff's dealings with Roxanne, and taking into consideration our general know-how of how dangerous life really is, along with our inherent tendencies to protect the people we love, it's not really that hard to understand and more or less agree with Uncle Aaron's methods of deceiving Miles as his way of protecting him, teaching him about the worst part of life.
You don't realize I'm the only one trying to save you. You want your mom to bury you too? I won't let you.
And take note of that last part, because this is where I think Uncle Aaron's mentoring ways really shine through. Being the criminal, or rather former criminal that he was, having all those experiences and connections and knowledge of the things that happen in the underground,
And I don't mean this underground, by the way.
but rather the seedy underbelly world of crime and corruption, Uncle Aaron knows about the hardships of life, about the disgusting and grimy parts of living, the kill or be killed, dog eat dog kind of world, the world where you can never trust anyone ever, that kind of world. See, With Uncle Aaron having experienced and lived that kind of life in the back of his mind, I think that his role as the mentor who implicitly shows Miles the worst parts of life as a way to protect him and expose him to the bigger picture and to wipe away that innocence from Miles is a great opposition to how Peter took his mentorship role in Miles' life. From deceiving and lying to Miles to unintentionally selling him out to Roxanne, which almost got him killed by the way, to even advising his nephew to lie to his best friend / sister, Uncle Aaron's methods are, as I've mostly hinted at, not the most commendable. However, what his methods do is show an important aspect about life and growing up, one that Peter might never be able to teach Miles. And that is the fact that in real life, becoming your own man means that sometimes you have to do things you're not comfortable with, things you're not proud of, things that might get you in more trouble, and things that might never sit well with you deep down, just so that you can get to the more important parts of your life. And while this might not be the most morally sound lesson to say in this video, it's something that we all know is true, that sometimes life requires us to do some morally ambiguous things simply because we have to. It annoys me to say this, but this is simply a part of life, a part of being an adult, part of becoming your own man. And that's exactly what Uncle Aaron wanted Miles to learn and understand. That not everything is as black and white as he thinks it is. And to be honest, Aaron's not wrong about it. Honestly, the more I analyze it, the more it makes sense to me. Even in the way the Prowler fights, it's more or less a different approach compared to Peter. With the exception of sections involving stealth, the way Peter handles fights or combat is head-on, direct, hands-on, mano-a-mano, foot to the face. In contrast, like the name suggests, Prowler takes his time, uses cloaking devices, sleeping canisters, and illusions or holograms, and generally hides and deceives his enemies and uses steel-tipped gauntlets to slash and end his enemies in one quick strike. Hell, you could even see the parallels between Miles and his uncle, being that Miles developed a natural camouflage power just like how Prowler uses a cloaking device to hide himself, power that the original Spider-Man does not have. Just throwing it out there as an interesting observation I had. And just so we're clear, I just have to reiterate this. I'm not about to just say that Uncle Aaron is strictly a bad person and that his role in Miles' life as a mentor and as an uncle was terrible to say the least. Because at the end of the day, while his executions and methods weren't the most morally righteous, it's hard to argue that his intentions to protect his nephew and the entire family were truly for the good.
Throw yourself at enemies you can't beat. Know who else did that?
Don't say his name!
When all is said and done, while Uncle Aaron highlights some obviously questionable virtues and practices, in all actuality, what he represents in his nephew's life as a mentor and as an uncle is meant to be a balance from what Peter symbolizes within Miles' journey of growth.
Helix 2.
Pete, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to.
It's okay, we got this.
For Peter, he represents the aspect of seeing the good in everyone, which was displayed in the way he sees, or rather saw, the good in his foes like Dr. Octavius, aka Doc Ock, Martin Lee, Mr. Negative, the Vulture, and just basically every criminal and supervillain he has ever fought with. On the other hand, while Peter's values teach and shape Miles to always find a way to see the goodness in the world and in people, Aaron Davis is the constant reminder of the harsh and cruel realities of life. Aaron balances Miles out by showing him the worst in people, highlighting how everyone has a dark and untrustworthy spirit within them, and that Miles should always be aware that life isn't as straightforward as he thinks it is. A lesson that most of us, if not all, had to learn the hard way, especially when we were all just young and naive teens. Still, despite these existing guiding figures that were willing to help and mentor Miles, the obvious truth is that it's still all up to Miles himself to display how he acts as a hero and how he proves himself to be worthy of being called a man, an adult, and a Spider-Man for that matter. At the end of the day, It's still all up to Miles to show how he actually takes these lessons and advices from the people around him and what he does with the lessons.
Through the kingdom in the night, I only see you in the city light.
And well, not everything is fine, dandy, and smooth sailing. In fact, there had been numerous moments in the game where we see Miles just going guns blazing, showing his immaturity, displaying his inexperience and ignorance, and just proving to those around him that although he is capable and he has been learning, there are still moments that show that Miles still needs guidance from time to time. We've seen this many times within our time playing as Miles. From him going Rambo on the floor entrance, which inadvertently blocked his way to the main auditorium, or the time he accidentally used his powers to change the structure of new form and make it more unstable and dangerous, or even the time he went hero mode to destroy the new form reactor while trying to retrieve Finn's cell phone for evidence, which just led to the phone getting destroyed and Miles almost dying, if not for his uncle saving him. To clarify, this is not to show Miles' mistake for the sake of it. Rather, it's shown to portray Miles' slow and steady path towards growth. Because when you think about it, Roxanne and Simon Krieger himself would have probably never been taken down so easily if not for Aaron himself testifying, and much of the damning evidence was on that phone. I doubt the authorities would believe a statement from a young vigilante like the new Spider-Man. Fortunately, it all worked out in the end, because the truth of the matter is that maturing doesn't just take time. Rather, maturing requires dedication and true effort. Growing up is a gradual climb by design. The journey to becoming your own man is challenging for a reason, and that reason is so that you can actually experience and appreciate the journey. Just like how Miles still makes mistakes from time to time, it's the same way that we are meant to appreciate his slow growth, so that by the end of the game, his jump from grief-stricken son filled with anger from the first game to this confident, well-composed, and matured individual who can hold down his own city isn't just something that's forced, but rather earned. Now, while it's honestly been fun talking about Peter and Uncle Aaron's mentoring role towards Miles, I also want to reflect these sentiments into my own life. To be honest, there's an actual particular reason why I wrote this specific script. Honestly speaking, I had already written a different script since I've been wanting to talk about the Spider-Man Miles Morales game for a very long time, and I've always planned this game to be the second game I talk about in my channel. However, along the way, while finishing the draft for the script, something interesting happened. Now, story time for a while. Recently, I've been trying to be healthier and stop being so damn out of breath anytime I do anything. And one of the things I've been doing is getting back to walking and running. Well, during one of my running sessions, I came across this family, or rather ran across this family. A mom, a dad, and 2 kids, who were also just there to relax and walk around. See, one of the kids was riding a kid's bike, of course. While I was running, I got near the vicinity of where the family was playing, and I saw the kid just pedal and ride her bike. She went so fucking fast like Sonic and got so far that I saw the mom panic. But then the part that really got me was seeing the smile on the dad's face. See, to be completely honest, one of the many things that really get me in my feelings is seeing parents proud of their kids and seeing those kids just happy. And when I saw the dad look at his child so endearingly, man, he was just laughing, he was grinning, just proud. And not even laughing at his kid, but like just, like the dad just couldn't help but laugh. He looked so proud of his kid, and it's not one of those
"Yeah kid, go, I'm so proud of you. Everyone, look at my fucking child"
kind of moment, but like, he was just proud of his kid and proud of the moment. You can basically look at his face, say,
"What the fuck? I made that. That came from my boss."
After that, I ran for another 2 kilometers, but while I was running, I just couldn't get that image out of my head. And that moment is what led me to rewriting the entire script for this video. It was the fact that after seeing what I had just seen, I was bombarded with vivid memories of what I could remember about the last mission I played on Spider-Man Miles Morales. The scavenger hunt mission, better known as the Memory Lane mission. And now, while Miles was piecing up each and every postcard, which would then be accompanied by a beautiful and heartful recorded voice message from his dad,
"Hey big man, happy birthday."
I was slowly getting the idea of what the game was actually about. I mean, while I've rambled on for a long while now about Peter's role in mentoring Miles and teaching him how to become Spider-Man, about Uncle Aaron's role in protecting Miles and teaching him about the harsh realities of life, what I've actually been hinting at is the fact that the man that Miles was truly becoming was not just the next Spider-Man. In reality, Miles was also learning how to become the worthy successor to a different kind of legacy. Near the halfway mark runtime of the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, there's this thing that Miles started to do that really stuck with me. The mission where he infiltrated a Roxxon lab for the first time to investigate on what happened to Rick and Finn. During that mission, several important plot-related things happened, but the most resonating moment was when Miles tried to shut down the Nuform reactor by overloading it with his bioelectrical powers, aka his Venom powers. This moment was intense, it was full of stakes, and told the player so much about the story and about Miles, showing how willing he was to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Wait a minute. Sacrificing yourself for the greater good. Kind of feels familiar, right? Where have I seen that? Oh, right! A game ago, we basically witnessed the ultimate form of what Miles did with the Nuform reactor. Bullseye. Like father, like son?
Look, if you didn't want to work there anymore, May and I would understand.
I did want to quit when I heard. Then I remember what my dad used to say. A hero is just a guy who doesn't give up.
Anyways, that, my friends, is the actual anchor to this entire video. As I've said before, what I think is one of the best things about the Spider-Man Miles Morales games portrayed is to show not only how Miles Morales worked his way and earned his way into becoming his own man, or Spider-Man for that matter, it was more than that for Miles. In fact, what the game was actually consistently showed from start to finish is something that he learned way before meeting Peter, and something that Miles achieved so that he can subconsciously define himself away from Peter's version of Spider-Man.
There is nothing you could ever do or ever be that would make me stop loving you. You give me strength, Miles. That's all a hero really is. Someone who's brave for the people they love. Someone who's
just a guy who doesn't give up.
For me, what Miles undeniably achieved by the end of this game is embody the values of his true hero. A hero to the entirety of New York for that matter, Jefferson Davis. For Miles to become his own man, he had to first acknowledge and represent the values that he learned from his father. And we saw that throughout the entire game. In fact, we saw those values even during the first game, even when Miles didn't have any powers at all. What the Memory Lane mission proved is that through those postcards, through that scavenger hunt, and through those heartwarming voice recordings,
"Hey big man, happy birthday."
Oh my god.
You're a born hero, Miles. Don't ever lose that fighting spirit. Proud of you making it this far. Love you lots, big man. See you at the next clip.
we see and experience that at the end of the day, Miles is still actually grieving. Even his mom is still grieving. But more importantly, we see how well Miles handled, or rather is still handling, the loss of his hero. Throughout that mission, and throughout the entirety of the game honestly, Miles handled his grief with grace, compassion, and maturity, which was a much more definitive and relevant way for Miles to display that he was really becoming his own man, more than the criminals he faced and the villains he defeated.
I mean, come on, you saved Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure that makes you an official superhero.
A superhero. Or maybe I'm just a guy who doesn't give up.
So now what does this particular segment that I'm talking about have to do with my story about the time I saw a dad become so proud of his child from going Sonic on a children's bike? Well, the answer is one word: legacy.
And so we come to the end. C.J. Walker Park. Remember when we played ball here in the summers? Your uncle showed you how to take it to the rack. Well, I demonstrated how to throw it down with authority.
The same type of way that the dad was proudly looking at his child, his legacy, was the same type of way that I felt about seeing Miles complete the memory lane mission, collecting all those postcards and hearing the voice message.
Don't think I'll ever forget watching you and Finn trying to alley-oop to your mom.
You could hear and feel just how proud and content Jefferson was of his son. And at the end of that mission, you can see just how confident he was that his son was on his way to becoming his own man.
Happy birthday, big man. You are my reason for being brave.
By the end of the game, it's undeniable that we truly saw how Miles grew up and became an actual adult. We were there. We witnessed his progress. Hell, we played it. From the first game where we saw this kid tinkering with his gadgets and carelessly messing with Sable technology, to being this lost, angry, and grieving son, to this reckless teen trying not to get squashed by a giant absolute brute unit, to this confident teen walking around this city, to this kid in a costume swinging like the hero he aspired to be, to taking notes from one of the world's greatest heroes, to dealing with the harsh realities of this world, to grappling with the fact that his best friend and basically his sister is the biggest threat to his family and to his city, and to even sacrificing his body to save his city and his friends and family. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a love letter for the kids and the kids at heart like me who dream of becoming Spider-Man, showing us the beautiful and ugly process to becoming your own man. So that was my script for this video that I plan to name Miles Morales Becoming Our Own Spider-Man. To be honest, I just have so much love for this game and for this series, and obviously for Spider-Man, or rather Spider-Man. I wanted to write about the game for a long time, and I really believe that out of all the plots, storylines, and the moments within this game, the one that was extremely compelling to talk about was the theme of Miles' growth to becoming a man, an adult, and a superhero. It was something that I could relate to, not being a superhero by the way. I'm in my early 30s to be honest. I'm far from a kid, but if you ask me, I'm still far from being an adult either if I'm being honest. I still have so much to go. But still, having played this game, I just couldn't help but see myself in some of the underlying themes and messages of the game. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I still have a long way to go to fully becoming my own man. But just like Miles, and Peter for that matter, I think that all I can do is to have the courage to try things, have the heart to make the necessary sacrifices, face some harsh realities, and simply keep trying and never give up, so that maybe one day, I too can be a hero to others. A bit corny, but whatever. But that's enough for me. That's the video. Hit the thumbs up if you liked the video, or thumbs down if you didn't. I understand. Please subscribe to my channel by the way, and drop a comment on what you think about the video. Did you think I nailed the underlying themes correctly? Did I mess up the analysis and interpretation, much like Aaron messed up his relationship with Jeff? What's your favorite plot or theme in the entire Marvel Spider-Man series? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you to all the YouTubers I took inspiration from and basically copied, as well as the source materials for the clips I used within this video. Thanks for listening. See you guys on the next one. KX Culture out.